BRF, I'm gonna let you go first. Favorite DMX track?
Mm, wow. He is wow. That's hard. Um, if I gotta pick one, if I gotta pick one, it's probably slipping. He got so many, but he got so many good ones though. Man, come on, man. I mean the first album is Dark and Hell is Hot is a classic on its own. I mean probably say like his first two or three albums. I think like his first three albums were all
All of them
just
number one. And by the way,
exactly.
is Dark as Hell is High, Fresher in My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. Those albums went number one in the same year, 98.
Exactly. Those two, yeah, exactly. And then he followed it up with and then there was X, which was arguably his biggest seller because and I think and then there was X had like the biggest probably two of the biggest mainstream songs he could have had because I think and then there was X was What's My Name and Party Up. I mean you can't have two bigger mainstream songs as DMX as those two songs right there. So those are definitely two of my favorites. Uh Man, hey, the Grand Champ album. I mean, get it on the floor. Where the hood at? Shoot. Oh, good lord.
They don't know.
They don't know. Oh man. Oh Lord, don't even talk to me about Who We Be. I love that song.
Mhm.
I love Who We Be. That's one of my favorite songs. But from a story, but honestly though, from a storytelling standpoint, just the message that he was trying to convey from that song. My all-time favorite DMX song is "Slippin'," just because like like I feel like if we call Tupac the GOAT storyteller of hip hop, DMX is like like right there, like just from and you and just all his emotions like the prayers on the albums just everything about DMX was just like he pulled you in and you couldn't get away, you just stayed, and it was his style because his rap was like a different style. Just man, he I miss that man. I miss that man. I would have loved to have gotten like at least another like good album good album like out of him just to kind of remind people what he used to do when he was younger. And yeah, just RIP to DMX. He's one of my favorite rappers of all time. But yeah, my number one is probably Slipping, just because of the emotion and just the way that song carried and just it's like when you hear it, it's like you just hear him talking. It's like he's talking to your soul, and it's just like and the chorus of the song, one of the greatest hooks and choruses, like I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up.
Can't
It's
get
just
up.
it's like he's confessing. It's like he's confessing to being to what a man he was to what he is today. It's like he's confessing and opening up and just like rappers just not a lot of rappers could do it with the power that he could do it, and just that song just speaks volumes of how talented he was, but yet the storyteller that he was. That's my favorite one of all time, and bro, shout out to DMX, RIP to that man, and just I just we people were starting to give him his flowers before he passed away, and then he passed, and it was just like, man, it's tough. A lot of the rappers that aren't here with us anymore. You wonder how music would be if they were still around, and it's just man. Shout out, shit, man. RIP to DMX, man. Slip is my number one. Slip is my all time favorite song.
Champ.
Man, look, it's a lot of them, man. A lot of them. Rest in peace to the great DMX, by the way, man. One song that I always hold in high regard is "Here We Go Again," because it just people think that story is only about certain things. I would say, but that really tells a story of how two good friends like can fall out and how you can mentor a person as much as you want to, but they don't want it for themselves and they just insist on doing the wrong thing and how you got to cut people loose at times. And I think if there was ever a song that taught me outside of my parents and my father, of course, if there were ever a song that you could relate to and say, hey, sometimes you got to let people go, no matter how much you care. Here We Go Again was was one of those songs, and the beat for that song it just personified that. But Here We Go Again, I Miss You, when he made that song about his grandmother, Faith Evans. Um, hey, everybody has their grandmother, especially us down here down south. Hey man, grandmother's the matriarch of the family, and once you lose her, it seems like everything scatters from there. So it's just that ain't a warning, that ain't a question, that is a fact. Once grandma leave this earth, it seems like the family just scatters. It takes a while to get everybody back together. So doing that one. Damien, Damien, the snake, the rat, the cat, the dog. How you gonna see it if you live it in the fog? And I don't think people understand. Look, I don't think people understand how biblical that song is. I don't think people understand that. He keeps saying it over and over: the snake, the rat, the cat, the fog. How you gonna see it if you living in the fog? And people talks about, what DMX had his demons. Yes, he did. He also recognized them and put it out there. I'm living in the fog, but I'm recognizing I'm living in the fog. So, Damien was a great one. But look, my favorite one, my favorite DMX song, especially, when you want to get pumped up, gotta be Blackout. Gotta be Blackout. I don't think outside of maybe the grand finale with DOC and NWA, I have never seen a collaboration where everybody's verse was just top notch. Jadakiss, Styles P, then on top of that, you come back with one of the greatest of all time, Jay-Z, and then you top that off with DMX. The Blackout was, like I said, the Blackout was one of the best collaboration outside of the DOC's grand finale I ever seen. So I will say, Here We Go Again, I Miss You, Damien, and Blackout.
The Rough Riders anthem. Stop, drop, shutting down, open up shop. Oh, no. That's how Rough Riders roll. That track right there. Oh man, BRF, you stole my thunder with slipping. That anytime I listen to that song when it's like when you sad or like on a rainy day, you play that track. You play that track, you just feel like I mean that song, man, is just breathtaking. Like you as you mentioned, man, with the soul and everything. I mean, it just tells you about the struggle. And then Party Up, because at that point DMX at that time, remember, the situation that he and his wife, they had his ex-wife. Remember the house that was raided and all that other stuff? If you
Mm-hmm.
watch the episode on VH1's Behind the Music, you can actually understand like why what led to the song Party Up. If you actually take the time to watch it on VH1's Behind the Music, I don't know if they still have it on YouTube. Maybe you can probably watch it like on Daily Motion or whatever. But 98, to have two albums in the same year that go number one. What does that say? That's a, that says something. That really says something about you. And then also, I mean, he was a hell of an actor too. I mean, with all the movies, remember Cradle to the Grave?
Love
Remember?
Cradle to the Grave.
Yeah,
Exit wounds.
yeah, yeah.
Exit Wounds, yeah.
Can I ask this question real quick? I know we're running out of time, but I have to ask this
No,
question.
go ahead, champ. Go ahead.
Is people always talk about Jay-Z during that time was the greatest Def Jam uh artist. I kind of disagree. Isn't it safe to say that
DMX,
DMX was
DMX run circles. See, the thing is with Jay Z, he had Rockefeller behind him, so he had that mainstream kind of advertising power around him. As an artist, DMX destroys him in every way possible.
yeah. So is it safe to put him in the GOAT conversation?
I think DMX is a better rapper than Jay Z, so why not?
No, that was my main question because when we talk about the GOAT conversations, everybody's saying, well, Jay-Z is the greatest artist, arguably of all time. I'm like, well, wait a minute. During the late 90s, during the late 90s, that was really DMX's time. I know they tried to give it to Jay-Z, but it was really DMX's time. And really he was the flagship bearer of
And
Def
let's not
Jam
forget.
during that
And let's
time.
not forget Jay Z versus Nas, because remember the beef that they had.
Yeah.
Remember when Jay Z did the song "Takeover" and then Nas later responded by doing "Ether."
Mm-hmm. So oh, and speaking of this, and let's not forget that song Ruled Out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, let's not forget that song. But uh look, I really think that DMX deserves to be in GOAT conversations because from 2000 and well, excuse me, from like 98 to like 2001, everything he touched turned to gold.
and he brought that hardcore rap because at that time in '97, Puffy, with the album No Way Out. Remember they were doing all the songs with the champagne and caviar. He brought it more street. He brought it more hood.
Yeah. And shout out to Irv Gotti because he made sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Irv Gotti because I know people always want to try to bury people because of favoritism, but shout out to Irv Gotti because they taped that, and I wish I was grown back then because I would have loved to have seen the tunnel. Because remember what he said. To your point, PSP, he was taking it back to the street, and that's exactly what he
Mhm.
said at the beginning of the Get At Me Dog. You know when he
Get at
said,
me, dog. Yeah.
boom, boom. Everybody was walking into the song. He was on the stage. Let's take it back to the streets. Blank, blank. And then
Hmm.
it was just like, oh, and then he hit to be that doing it. I was like, oh, okay. So big shout out to Irv Gotti for understanding talent, man. I mean, that was that was big. But like I said, it's safe to put him in GOAT conversations because I mean, from 97 to 2001, DMX was ruling the charts. And I mean, he was running circles around those guys. I mean, the three main flagship bearers of Def Jam at that point was Ja Rule, DMX, and Jay-Z. And he was running circles around both of them.
Yeah. Well,
I got,
fellas,
I got, I got one more. I got one more real quick before we leave the air. And I'm glad I thought about this.
go ahead.
One more DMX track. One of the greatest samples in the history of hip hop. You cannot talk about DMX songs without talking about "Ain't No Sunshine."
Mm-hmm.
That song, that that song right there, because he brought up the movie Exit Wounds, and I love, and hey, let me tell you something. That was a really, really good movie. And "Ain't No Sunshine" is like the song of that soundtrack. You can play that. You can still play that song today, and it's just like it's one. Man, come on, man. That's one of the greatest sample songs in the history of hip hop. I'm just, oof, that song still hit today. Love that song.
Yeah, man. Fellas, next week for favorite songs, because we done a lot of good artists though. I'm gonna try to do something. But favorite artists for next week. Favorite
excuse me.
artist for next week. We're gonna do favorite artist for next week. Favorite artist for next week. So many great options, but I'm thinking Nas. We're gonna do Nas.
Oh man.
So, fellas, y'all stay tuned for next week on the Sports PSP Pod.